with Menelik I. In the book of Acts, chapter 8, it speaks of Philip, which is the disciple of Christ, in his Amharic persona. His name is Iesus Christus. And Philip met this Ethiopian official from the house of Queen Candace. The Ethiopian official was a eunuch. And Philip taught him of the Christ that was amongst them, Iesus Christus, and showed the eunuch that this Messiah that you read of in the book of Isaiah is the same man that I know. And the story in Acts chapter 8 says that the eunuch took this order that was taught to him by Philip, the order of Christ, and returned to Ethiopia with this order. And this is why, historically speaking, and archaeologically as well, Ethiopia is the oldest known Christian country and Christian kingdom in existence today. So when we understand this scientific move, which obviously came directly from the courts of God, that the Ark of the Covenant, the very presence of God, went to Ethiopia. The Solomonic lineage, the Davidic throne, of which God says in the Bible, he shall establish a king forever, and even he himself shall come and sit on this throne. But the throne now is in Ethiopia. How mystic it is that even all the firstborn of the house of nobles returned to Ethiopia. And then, as we saw in the book of Acts in the New Testament, even the true order of Christ, not the regular Christendom now, not the make-believe mockery that was invented 100 years after the Messiah left the presence of his disciples. No, we're speaking of the true order that the true black Messiah left with his disciples, that went to Ethiopia. And that has made Ethiopia the oldest Christian country, not Coptic Egypt, but ancient Ethiopia, the oldest Christian country. All of this was done for a reason. And then the whole majestic ceremony of the 27th day of September every year in Ethiopia. It is referred to as the feast of the commemoration of Maskal, the commemoration of the finding of the true cross of Christ by Queen Helena. And according to the ancient prophecy, the cross of Christ shall return to Ethiopia. The cross of Christ in Ethiopia, the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia, the Solomonic lineage, the Davidic throne in Ethiopia. The lineage of the Messiah is in Ethiopia. Family, 1884. Ethiopian calendar, 23rd day of July, 1892. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Ever-Living Father, and the Prince of Peace. He was the only surviving child of the union of Ras Mokenen and Waziro Yeshima Bet. For the union had 9 children, all died, and the 10th survived to become the 225th Emperor of Ethiopia. Born under the baptismal name Kedemawe Haile Selassie, at a young age he took the name Tafari, an Amharic word that means the Creator. Liege Tafari was his name, for liege is the title of a young nobleman. And Liege Tafari, even at a young and tender age, was considered to be very spiritual. For his father Ras Mokenen, an official in the courts of King Menelik II, was always on his royal duties. So the young babe, whose mother died when he was very young, stayed with his grandmother. And the legend says that once when Ras Makanan returned from the royal duties, his mother, the grandmother of Liege Tafari, gave him the child and said, "This is a very special child." And she joined the convent of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and became a nun. It was in 1896 that Italy invaded Ethiopia on its colonial quest, but they were defeated and crushed by the hand of great King Menelik and Ras Makanan and the Ethiopian warriors. Tafari was very young, and at the age of 13 he took the title Didesh Mak, an Ethiopian title that means the keeper of the door. And he also took command of a specific faction of his father's army. At the age of 13, he was also governor of different provinces in Ethiopia. At a young and tender age, he was the governor of Sidima, the governor of Gore, and even the governor of Shoa. This takes us into the prophetic understanding, because the oldest concept of a God worship, theologically the oldest concept of a God and a creator, is that which is known as the Osiris mystery, that which speaks of the great God Ptah, the Kemetic theology, that which speaks of Osiris and Heru. And it says that Osiris is the God-man, and Osiris was born in Ethiopia. It also says that Osiris at the age of 13 became a man. This can also be seen in the scriptures of the Bible, where it says that the Christ child, when he was fully 12, which means that he was 13 years old, he also became a man and went about his father's work. In the same hieroglyphs of the same Kemet, those that are seen also in the pyramid text, says that Heru, known as Horus, became a man at the age of 13 years. This is prophecy. Historically, Haile Selassie I took the title Didesh Mak, the royal title of a prince, and also became governor at the age of 13. A short time after, Didesh Mak Tafari's father Ras Makanan got very ill and passed this earthly life. The same thing went for Menelik II. And it was in 1916 that Didesh Mak Tafari took the title Ras Tafari, which means the chief. And also he was the regent of the throne of Ethiopia. But officially, from that time, the 27th day of September 1916, it was considered by the Royal Council of Ethiopia that the ruler of Ethiopia was Rastafari. This was also announced and made very clear by the Empress Zaditu, the daughter of Menelik II.
When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black, and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessing to lead the millions of the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a whirlwind or a storm, look for me all around you, for in God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
It was the 27th day of March, 1928, Elwes Park, Jamaica. Marcus Messiah Garvey specifically said to his audience, "Look to the east, to Ethiopia, where a prince shall be crowned king. He shall be your liberator." It was in that same year, 1928, on the 7th day of October that a prince in Ethiopia was crowned king. Rastafari, who has already been governing Ethiopia for 12 years, now became king of Addis Ababa. King is not emperor, for all the provinces of Ethiopia had a king, and it was the King of Kings, which was the emperor of Ethiopia. But Marcus Messiah Garvey in his prophecy says that a prince shall be crowned king. And historically, in Ethiopia, when Rastafari took the title Negus Tafari on the 7th day of October 1928, that was the very last time that a prince has ever been crowned king in Ethiopia to this very day. So this means that that prophetic word from Marcus Messiah Garvey could have only applied to one person and to one event, and that is the crowning of Rastafari, who on the 7th of October 1928 became Negus Tafari.
It wasn't until 1930 that Rastafari won supreme power at last and ascended the throne when the Empress Zauditu died. Crowned emperor at last at the age of 38, Tafari took the royal name of Haile Selassie, meaning the Mighty Trinity.